Hello, and welcome to episode 89 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast. I'm Christine.
And I'm Sam.
I hope everybody's enjoying or has enjoyed their holiday weekend. We did a lot of stuff over the weekend.
We sure did.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I wanted to talk about something that we forgot to talk about last week, and that is the update on the Miyokos Creamery situation.
Oh, well, go for it then.
Miyoko Schinner and her company, Miyokos Creamery, they reached an agreement. So both of the lawsuits that were filed on either side of that aisle have been rectified. Miyokos Creamery and its founder, Miyoko Schinner, have decided to bury the hatchet and resolve their differences. The parties have withdrawn all legal claims against each other, which is good news, I guess. It all started after Schinner was stripped of her role as the company's CEO over conflicts surrounding the brand's mission. The company sued Schinner for breach of contract and misappropriation of company intellectual property, as well as violating trade secret laws and breaching loyalty and a promissory note. After going through a court mandate mediation process, it seems that both parties have relented. A statement published on both of their social media channels read, Miyokos Creamery and Miyoko Schinner are pleased that they have resolved all legal disputes between them and that they have withdrawn all legal claims made against each other. Miyokos Creamery acknowledges the tremendous creativity, hard work, and integrity of its founder, Miyoko Schinner, a true pioneer in vegan creamery products, and appreciates her many contributions to the company over the years. Miyoko Schinner appreciates the dedicated team of people at Miyokos Creamery and their commitment to continuing her legacy through sustained and continued excellence in manufacturing, developing, and selling vegan creamery products. Miyoko and the company wish each other well as they go their separate ways. So that was the official statement.
You know, I'm honestly glad to see that there's not going to be a long, drawn-out, potentially nasty court battle between those two entities.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors and, you know, what the terms of the settlement are and all of that good stuff. And that's pretty common. Generally speaking, we wouldn't get to know those kinds of details. But I think just for the good of the company in general, and I'm sure for Miyoko's mental health, moving on is a good thing.
Yeah, I'm sure that she's happy to kind of put this behind her. As heartbreaking as it is, I'm sure, for her, but to be able
it would have to be. But at the same time, you know, not having it looming over you is, you know, that's a big relief.
I'm sure it is. Now she can move on to, you know, bigger and better things.
That's right. And she actually did have a comment, I believe this is on Instagram, that says that she is moving on, looking forward to an exciting new future filled with friends, community, and activism. And who could ask for more than that?
Yeah, it'll give her more time to focus on the sanctuary and like she said, vegan activism. So,
and it would not surprise me if we see a brand new venture from Miyoko at some point in the not too distant future.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah. So we wish her all the best.
Yeah. So I don't know if Miyoko still holds shares within the company, if the ties are completely severed now. There are still people out there saying that they're boycotting the products because of how she was let go and all that other jazz. We personally don't buy a whole lot of Miyoko's products.
Well, and that's just because we don't buy a whole lot of dairy substitutes to begin with.
Yeah.
We don't use a lot of vegan butter. We don't use a lot of vegan cheese. So, you know, we don't buy a lot of stuff. I mean, occasionally, yes, I will say that Miyoko's butter is the best for vegan baking, without question.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're having a special dinner or something and you have like dinner rolls or something like
then
that.
You've got to get the cultured butter because it's insanely good.
It is really good.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know if that will change our buying habits at all of this or not. So,
yeah, I haven't really thought about it. I mean, of course, that's a choice that, you know, everybody kind of gets to make on their own if, you know, they think that the company has treated Miyoko poorly and that they don't want to support that. Well, I certainly understand that. At the same time, if they're looking at it from the point of view that the split has happened amicably
Yeah.
to some degree. And, you know, Miyoko's not out there saying don't buy Miyoko's products.
No, she isn't. So,
You know, so there's that. So,
yeah. So I think people should probably just follow her lead
yeah.
if you want to know how to purchase those products or not purchase those products.
Right.
Yeah. So that's that. I just wanted to mention it because we said we were going to talk about it and then we didn't talk about it.
That happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to talk about what we did this weekend?
Well, this was one of my favorite weekends that we've had in a very long time. We went down to Pittsburgh to see Lucy in a production of Matilda, and she was one of the leading characters. She was playing Miss Honey, which I have to say was an absolute perfect fit for her.
I think
there was
so.
a little bit of typecasting going on there, actually. Lucy is a very sweet kid, and Miss Honey is a very kind, empathetic, supportive, compassionate character, and Lucy kind of fit into that just perfectly.
Yeah, I think it was a good role for her.
It really was. But she had 3 different solo songs to do, and gosh darn it, the kid made me cry.
Yeah, I teared up too.
But
Yeah.
you teared up. I was sobbing.
Sam was sobbing.
Every time the kid opened her mouth, I was sobbing, particularly the last 2 pieces, which were songs called This Little Girl and My House. Just sweet and sentimental, and just the resonance in her voice sometimes just hit me straight in the center of the chest, and I just could not hold it back. It was really quite amazing.
Yeah, it did. It got me in the feels quite a bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just an incredible, incredible kid, and a really fantastic production. Lucy was not the only highlight. The young woman who was playing Matilda was fantastic. The young woman who was playing Miss Trunchbull was fantastic. The young woman who played Lavender was amazing. The little one who played Bruce was amazing. There were just a lot of really, really great things going on in this show. So definitely one of the strongest kind of middle school aged productions I've ever seen.
Yeah. They all did such a great job.
They really did. So anyway, we saw the show twice, once on Friday night and once on Saturday. And in the middle, we kind of hung out with the folks and went down to my brother's for most of Saturday afternoon. And we played catchphrase. Christine and I absolutely walloped my dad and brother, which was really fun.
Yeah, we had a pretty rousing game.
We did.
Catchphrase. I don't know how many rounds we played, like 5 or something.
No, it was
like
more than that. It was like 7 or 8.
Wow.
And we kicked their butts.
We did.
At one point, serious butt kicking.
At one point, Sam's brother Owen, they were ahead in the game, and he said, "We're crushing them," and then everything went downhill for them after that. Yeah, we did really well.
We did. It was awesome. There was kind of a mind meld going on. It
There
worked
was.
beautifully. And then for dinner that night, we went to kind of the standby for Christine and I. Whenever we go to Owens, we seem to wind up at Mad Mex.
Yep, we
surprise.
Ended up at Mad Mex again.
Ended up at Mad Mex. And what did you have at Mad Mex this time around?
Oh, this time I had the vegan chorizo burrito, which is very good. They use the Morningstar Farms chorizo. It's really spicy. And it has black beans and corn and all kinds of stuff, rice and stuff in it.
Nice.
It was very good.
Cool.
I enjoyed it.
Awesome.
I only ate half, and then I left the other half in Owen's refrigerator.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I once again got the roasted veggie bowl because I'm kind of obsessed with it. And once again got that with the fried tofu that goes into the Herbivore's tofu tacos. And I ate most of it because at this particular Mad Mex, it seemed like the portion was smaller.
it was like half as what
it
you
was
get. Yeah.
a completely different bowl. It was definitely different.
Yeah.
Than I've seen in the past. And so I ate most of it, and what was left over went into a box with Christine's burrito, which then got left at Owen's house.
Yeah.
So we didn't get to have our Mad Mex leftovers.
Oh, so sad.
I know, right?
I'm kind of broken up about it.
It's okay. It's really okay.
Yeah, so that's what we did this weekend. We're both a little wiped out from it because we were up late. I was up past midnight.
Yeah.
Both Fridays and Saturday night.
Saturday.
Yeah. So then, we came home on Sunday, and of course we had trouble sleeping.
Yeah, I was up really late. We tried to go to bed at a normal time, and I was just still awake. I was watching YouTube videos and doing Italian lessons and all kinds of things. And I'm like, this is stupid. I should not be laying here. I'm not tired. I'm not going to fall asleep. So I got up and went back to my craft room and was making some hats because that's my thing these days. And wound up falling asleep back there because my craft room is also a spare bedroom. So I wound up sleeping back there because I didn't want to wake Christine with, going back into the bedroom and causing a ruckus and
causing a ruckus
because
well, I woke up at it was 11:30 or something like that. I'm like, where's Sam? And then I peeked. By this time you had fallen asleep. I peeked my head in there and
really?
You were sleeping.
Oh,
so yeah, so I had some peanut butter toast, which is my magic elixir to make myself go back to sleep,
right?
And I was up until, I don't know, maybe 2, something like that. So our sleep schedules are really wonky right now.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's probably going to continue for me because with these evening rehearsals and getting home sometime between 9:30 and 10, I have to kind of wind down after a rehearsal process because my brain's all lit up and all of that kind of stuff. So I probably won't get to sleep until, midnight, and I've got to get back to getting up earlier in the morning. And it's just
it's a process.
It is. And the thing is, this always happens like when you transition from a semester to a break.
Yeah.
For some reason. Yeah.
Yeah, it screws with your schedule.
It does.
But enough about us.
True. That is definitely enough about us.
No, but more about us. I wanted to remind everybody that our live vegan trivia night was rescheduled, and we're now doing it on June 30th from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Vegan Center in Tonawanda, New York. Get your tickets. The link will be in the show notes, or you can also find the link on our social medias. So get your teams together if you're in the area. And come on down and play trivia with us because it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, come on out and see us. There will be prizes for the top 3 teams. There will be food and beverages served. And by food, I mean snacks, not a full-on meal.
Yeah, light refreshments.
Light refreshments will be served, and it's just going to be a rocking good time. So
it's going to be good. I know.
Come hang out with us.
I know some people are already getting their teams together. Also, think of good team names for your teams.
Yes,
that's half the fun.
Christine was very excited a couple weeks ago before we were supposed to do the original vegan trivia night, and she hands me a document that just has 4 instances of your team name and a line.
Yeah.
Your team name and a line. She's like, can you go to work and make some copies of this for me? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, because that's half the fun. You come up with a team name and you hand in the team name, and then we announce each team's names, and sometimes they're really funny.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, it's like my favorite team name that we've ever had. I mean, outside of course, Team Kenny, because that's just the family name is just Team Kenny. But the name we gave to our blood donor group, which is Half Blood Princesses.
Right. The
I love that.
Princesses.
Half Blood Princesses,
I think one time when
blood donation and Harry Potter all wrapped up in one. It's beautiful.
I think one time when we were playing trivia at a local place that was doing trivia, I think we were the Cheeky Monkeys at one point.
Oh, that's a good one.
And yeah, so it's fun to come up with your team name. So yeah, so sign up for that. If you're in the area, we want to see you there.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to this week's recipe. Talking about my missing half of burrito made me think it would have gone really well with this week's recipe.
Oh, it would have gone really well with this week's recipe.
Yeah.
So let's lead into this week's Vegan Cookbook Challenge recipe of the week.
This week, I made a recipe from a book that I was kindly gifted by its author when he found out that I was missing one of the books in his collection of cookbooks.
How dare you be missing a book in his collection.
I know, right?
Right.
And the book is called The Simply Vegan Cookbook, and this is by one of my favorite cookbook authors and people in general, Dustin Harder, also known as the Vegan Roadie.
Yep. Gotta love Dustin.
Yes, so this is his first cookbook. And when he found out that I didn't have his first cookbook, he sent us one.
It was so sweet.
It was very sweet.
So sweet.
Yeah. So the recipe that we made, and we actually made it today, is his quinoa nachos supreme.
So now you know why it would have gone really well with the second half of Christine's burrito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a nachos recipe, obviously. And you use quinoa, which you cook with salsa and spices and stuff.
And
so,
tamari, you said.
Yeah, and a little hit of tamari for a little umami flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also 2 recipes in here for sauces that you use. You use his cheese sauce and you make his vegan sour cream, which I was kind of blown away by the vegan sour cream. It's super simple recipe. It really tastes like sour cream.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah.
This whole thing was great. One of the things I loved about it is that because there was no... this was not a baked nachos,
right?
So you didn't have a vegan cheese substitute that was melted
like
over
a
the tortilla chips,
yeah.
right? And so the tortilla chips didn't stick together, which can be an issue.
Well,
with
it can be
standard
when
nachos.
somebody grabs the heart of the nachos and like all the stuff comes with it,
right?
Like, oh
yes.
no,
exactly. So no troubles there. The flavor combinations were wonderful. For me, the hit of the whole thing was the quinoa with the salsa and tamari. It was beautiful. A really fantastic, and I would go so far as to say ingenious substitute for the ground beef that you would frequently find on a nachos supreme. Texturally, it kind of imitated ground beef really, really well. I don't know. It just, it hit the spot.
Yeah, it really did.
It really did. And the sauces were just creamy and tangy and beautiful. Again, the sour cream was fantastic.
Yeah. And then you put some of your typical nacho ingredients. There's black beans and tomato, and I added some sliced up green pepper. Mm-hmm. What else is on there? Some scallions.
Yeah, green onions.
Yeah. It was really good. And the cool thing about a lot of Dustin's recipes is that, say you don't want to make his nacho cheese sauce or his vegan sour cream sauce.
Yeah.
He tells you, what you can buy a different brand, buy Tofutti or whatever. He also says that you can do variations. He's got 2 variations on here where there's a meaty one, meaty nachos, where you omit the quinoa and then just use a vegan crumble.
Like an Impossible or a Morningstar Farms, that kind of thing.
And then the other variation that he gives you is a Hawaiian nacho. And you can replace the tomato with cubed mango and pineapple. And then drizzle it with a barbecue sauce.
Oh, that's interesting.
That sounds good.
We might have to try that. Yeah, that I think would be really lovely.
Yeah.
Now, a couple of things that I wish had been on these nachos that weren't, that I think would just give it a little more kick. Number 1 is just a hit of lime. Like, I wish we would have just squeezed some lime juice over the top to give it a little more acidity. And I think also in the realm of acidity, but also just a little more, I don't know, fat, I wish there'd been some black olives.
Oh, yeah. I could have put black olives. Yeah. There also is no avocado on these.
Ooh.
So, I mean, but they're nachos. It's like it's choose your own adventure with nachos.
It really is.
So this is just the base recipe.
And it's fabulous.
Yeah. And of course, I always like to make the base recipe
before you do anything else.
Yeah, before I alter it or anything. So that you can taste how it was intended to be. And they're really super fresh and light. You know what I mean?
They taste really clean. Like you can tell that there's really nothing processed in there. Of course, you've got some tortilla chips, but beyond that, you can tell that it is just real fresh food, which of course I absolutely love. So I hope we'll definitely be making these again because I love a nachos supreme. I mean, chips and salsa are great and fine, but I like the stuff. It's just like with salads. I like the stuff.
Plus, like nachos, it's almost like buildable food because you're picking up little pieces.
There you go. Again, my penchant for buildable food. So, I hope we make these again. And I think if we added some avocado and some black olives,
we can go to town.
We can go to town.
Yeah.
On the toppings and
yeah. But these were really healthy, because then the chips, I used a combination of 2 different chips just to make it look prettier. I used organic blue corn tortilla, and then the other chip that I used is an organic like flaxseed tortilla,
and they were delicious.
They're really good. You can get them at Aldi's. They're really good. So I would say, as far as Nacho Supremes go, this was probably the healthiest Nacho Supreme we've ever had.
Oh, easily.
Right?
Yeah, no question about that, for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, he says, if you want to use like a commercial shredded vegan cheese, have at it, choose your own adventure.
Yep. So in closing with this is another home run by Dustin Harder.
Yeah, we haven't had a miss from Dustin.
We really haven't, which is why we keep coming back to his recipes.
It's true.
Yep.
Yeah, his books have a lot of Post-its stuck in them. Yeah. So again, the book is The Simply Vegan Cookbook, and it's by Dustin Harder, creator of the Vegan Roadie series, which you can catch on YouTube.
Sure can.
Yeah.
So thank you, Dustin. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Thanks so much for sending us the book, and going to dig into it and do a couple more out of it, I'm sure.
And not only that, but one of these days we are going to get around to making those absolutely stunning lemon poppy seed waffles that you made at my request. And thank you very much for that. We saw the video. They look spectacular.
Yeah.
We just haven't made them yet. Yeah.
If you remember a while back when we made Dustin's sweet potato waffles, I was talking about doing a will it waffle kind of like situation. And Sam said, what would be good would be a lemon poppy seed waffle. Mm-hmm. And Dustin contacted me and said, that's a fantastic idea. Do you mind if I run with it? And I'm like, be my guest. And literally like 2 days later,
he put up a video.
He had the recipe figured out, and he put up a video, and he made like this like raspberry sauce for on top.
Just looks gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So some Sunday morning in the not too distant future, we're going to have to make some lemon poppy seed waffles.
Yeah. And if you're interested in that recipe, just check out Dustin Harder on his Instagram page. There's a reel for it. He is the Vegan Roadie on Instagram.
Yeah.
And he gives you the recipe for it. So way cool.
Way cool.
Well, that brings us to our noteworthy section.
And what did we find that's noteworthy today?
Well, there's been some talk about vegan mothers and breastfeeding. And there was some talk that vegan mothers, I have heard people say that they have an issue with vegan mothers breastfeeding because they don't feel like the babies are getting all the nutrition that they should be getting when the mother is on a vegan diet. Well, that has been debunked.
It has. Very clearly, in fact. So a recent study presented at the 55th annual meeting of the European Society for Pediatric Gastroenterology, Hepatology, and Nutrition has found that a vegan diet does not affect maternal breast milk concentrations of vitamin B2 and carnitine. Now, both of these micronutrients are predominantly found in animal products and are vital for the developing infant. And so there have been some concerns that removing meat and dairy products from your diet would therefore reduce the amount of these nutrients in the breast milk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the research compared the breast milk of 25 vegan mothers to that of 25 mothers who have no exclusions in their diets from a database of 3,000 breastfeeding women. A deficiency of vitamin B2, which is an important cofactor in many enzymes, can cause neurological issues and anemia in babies. Similarly, a shortage of carnitine, thank you, may lead to low blood sugar levels along with a higher risk of heart and brain dysfunction. Using sampling techniques to isolate individual components of the breast milk and blood value estimations, the team found that both groups had the same levels of B2, not B12, B2 in their blood and in their milk.
However, the concentrations of carnitine turned out to be lower in the blood of vegan women, but were of standard value in the milk. While the researchers found that a vegan diet didn't lower the concentrations of vitamin B2 and carnitine in breast milk, they couldn't pinpoint how that was possible. The team said, "We think that it is regulated in the mammary gland, but we have not investigated the exact mechanism."
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
It is pretty incredible. It's amazing what the human body can do.
That's right.
It really is.
Yeah.
You know, the body says, oh, this is what my baby needs. I'm breastfeeding and this is what my baby needs. And so we're going to make sure that somehow they have it.
Yeah.
So amazing.
So if you're a vegan, if you're a pregnant woman and you were worried about whether or not you should breastfeed or give your baby formula because you're vegan, it seems like it's perfectly safe to breastfeed your baby while you're on a vegan diet.
Yes. So the results of the study suggest that vitamin B2 and carnitine concentrations in human milk are not influenced by consumption of a vegan diet. These results suggest that a vegan diet in lactating mothers is not a risk for the development of a vitamin B2 or carnitine deficiency in breastfed infants. This information is useful for breastfeeding mothers and also for donor human milk banks, which collect milk for provision to premature infants who do not receive sufficient mother's own milk.
Yeah.
So
Were you breastfed as a baby?
I really don't know.
I don't think I was.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's not something I remember, obviously,
Right.
and it's not something I've specifically asked my mom. So
Yeah, that is something.
I'm sure she'll listen to
ask.
this episode and she will then tell me.
Maybe. Yeah.
So
Yeah, maybe.
I'll find out.
I don't think I was.
Yeah, I have no idea at all. What makes you think that you weren't?
I think at one point my mother told me that I wasn't.
Oh, well, that would do it.
So that's the only thing I have to go by.
Alrighty then.
Because I also do not remember that point in time of my life. So
very few people do, if any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to say about breastfeeding vegans or breastfeeding in general?
No, I really don't. But I do think that it's great that kind of these, myths are about veganism causing deficiency are being debunked left, right, and center.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. I think that's a great thing. Now, women that are pregnant or planning on having children, that's something that they don't have to worry about anymore because there's enough to worry about when you're pregnant. So.
Certainly. No question.
Yeah, so that takes us to our main topic. This week's main topic, we wanted to talk about how apparently people are most likely to be turned vegan by their own family members.
This makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I mean, of course, okay, we're a little bit different in that perhaps, we were turned vegan by, research and watching a documentary.
Right.
But I think in general, it makes perfect sense for people to be, I hate saying turned vegan.
I know.
Like it just sounds a little strange to me.
Influence.
But to have people consider veganism or any other substantive change in their lives because of people they care about.
Yeah.
I mean, of course. Your family, your close friends, they're big influences in your life for good and for bad sometimes. And I think it does make really a lot of sense that those relationships might cause you to look at things differently or, get interested in something.
For most people, I think the people in their family are the people in their lives that care about them the most. And especially if it's a health-related situation, I think it's probably really easy to be convinced by members of your own family that adopting a vegan diet might be a good way to go.
Yep.
For health improvement.
Absolutely. And, this study called the Pathways to Veganism study found that family relationships may be the biggest driver to convince people to turn vegan, but also that non-vegan relatives are most likely to respond to health messages in the promotion of veganism. And that has certainly happened with my parents.
Yeah.
My dad, at my urging, did a little bit of research on the health benefits of a vegan or predominantly plant-based lifestyle and has since headed in that direction. And my mom was actually pretty clear about stating that at least 5 days a week, they eat essentially exclusively vegan.
Yeah.
She'll occasionally put cheese into something, but they eat very little meat.
She says she does not like any of the vegan cheeses that she's tried. And I said, well, look, you're not going to get any arguing from us. Mm-mm. You're doing all that you can. Mm-hmm. And we appreciate that you're doing that. And since they're adopting plant-based, solely for health reasons, it's really not an ethical decision on their part. That, whatever works for them is fine with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the Pathways to Veganism study questioned both omnivores and vegetarians and aimed to understand how non-vegans perceive veganism and which pro-vegan messages are the most effective. The study found that there was greater engagement with the health messages, and participants indicated that they have already or would in the future pass on health information about veganism. However, the study suggested that the moral position or the ethical position on veganism is more likely to result in a long-term commitment to the lifestyle.
And yeah, that I agree with 100%. If you're doing it for, I think that this works for other things in your life too. A lot of times if you're doing something for somebody else or some other reason other than your own well-being, sometimes it seems like that kind of stuff sticks more than, you know what I mean? Like say you're working out the gym or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's easier to fall out of that than if, for instance, you were doing something to care for a sick family member. You know what I mean?
Certainly. I think because the ethical arguments for veganism, or holding to those ethical tenets of veganism, that makes you feel like you're part of something bigger.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the choices that you yourself make in your everyday life. It feels, it gives you a connection to a community, to a belief system, to all kinds of things. And doing it for dietary reasons may not have that same effect.
Right.
But as I've said many times, it's a means to an end. And when I meet someone who is talking about the fact that they are vegan or they are plant-based, the why does not matter so much to me.
Right.
That they're doing it at all is a great, great thing. And I will support that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that.
So the need for the Pathways to Veganism study was identified and funded by the Vegan Society, which was carried out by Professor Claire Parkinson, Dr. Richard Twine, and Dr. Naomi Griffin from the Center for Human Animal Studies at Edge Hill University. The study, which was the first of its kind, used a mixed methods approach, including an online questionnaire, household interviews, and focus groups. It was interesting to find out that celebrity endorsement of veganism was viewed with a high degree of skepticism by study participants, and that actually makes a lot a lot of sense to me.
I know. I don't really care that celebrity is vegan.
No, I don't.
I mean, I do. It's great that they have a huge reach for for a vegan message. That's great.
That's fantastic.
But whether or not a celebrity is vegan, it affects us.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But the findings also suggested that vegan sports people, specifically, are important to challenging stereotypes around vegans' health and strength. Mm-hmm. And I think that's great. Personally, I think that the Williams sisters are incredible ambassadors for veganism. I mean, they're two of the strongest, most elite athletes in the world.
Yeah.
And they do it on a vegan diet. So
yeah.
That's pretty fabulous.
Yeah, the fact that the film The Game Changers was so effective.
Absolutely.
Is because I think it appeals to, especially to men.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. That they can see that all these professional athletes are excelling and becoming stronger and faster on a plant-based diet.
Yep.
It made it pretty effective.
Yep. But still, the study brought forward a lot of social and family aspects of veganism that are considered to be very strong influences on people. So, for example, family dynamics are seen as a major pathway to animal product reduction and transition to veganism. Non-vegans who reported they had vegan friends or family had a considerably more positive view of the healthiness of veganism. Cooking separate meals may lead to conflict in a family setting, but it can be overcome by constructing vegan meals as adaptable to other diets and preferences.
Yeah.
So for example, perhaps if my parents were so inclined, if mom really didn't want to eat vegan on a particular night, but dad was going to, maybe you make a stir fry that is, for starters, all veg. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so dad gets the veg and tofu over rice version. And then at the end, or in a separate pan, mom cooks up herself some chicken or beef or whatever it is that she wants to put in her stir fry. And she adds it separately. So dad is not getting the meat, but she still gets what she wants.
Yeah. But I'm glad they're not doing that.
I am too. Oh, I'm thrilled that they're not doing that. And I don't mean to give them any ideas.
No,
not at all. Of course, nutrition concerns were also brought up. The study found that over 84% of non-vegans thought veganism could be a healthy way of eating. And the same number did not think that eating meat is essential for a healthy diet. Over 91% did not think that drinking cow's milk is essential for a healthy diet. Well, guess what? That 91%, they're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Those who understand veganism well are much more likely to know that such a diet is generally healthy. Over 90% of those who rated themselves as having a high knowledge of veganism thought that it could be a healthy way of eating, in contrast to 60% of those who self-rated their knowledge as low.
Still, those percentages are surprisingly high to me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really pleased to discover that so many people in the study feel that veganism is and can be a healthy way of life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's surprising because especially the dairy industry is constantly making plant milk producers jump through hoops to compare their nutritive value to cow's milk. Which is interesting if most people understand that cow's milk is not the healthiest way to go.
Got it.
Yeah.
The study also took a look at the perceived barriers to veganism. Some respondents thought that becoming vegan could be too much of a challenge. Others didn't want to spend time on making the lifestyle switch, and a number of people worried about finding vegan food options. The study found that in order to go vegan, people need the knowledge and information about veganism and plant-based nutrition, access to the right materials, such as vegan food and ingredients and other products, easy and adaptable recipes, or a practical meal plan, and have the ability to prepare a vegan meal or knowing what to buy and cook.
Yeah, so this is where you can help your family members the most, I think.
Absolutely.
First of all, introduce them to nutritionfacts.org.
Yes,
online.
That's your number one stop right there.
There's recipes and tons of videos that Dr. Michael Greger has made talking about nutrition and plant-based eating. Also, another thing you can do is cook for your family. Cook for your family. Because if they taste it and they like it, then they might say, do you have the recipe? Or you can say, here's the recipe. Make this yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that is the place where you can where you can help family members the most.
Yes. Now, the study also made a few recommendations for practice, and the Vegan Society said it was considering the following approaches in future as a result of this study. So they're looking at a focus on plant-based nutrition, as well as networking with health professionals and the public to communicate the benefits of a plant-based diet. Working with health organizations and charities to address the nutrition concerns of people with pre-existing health conditions, including meal plans that are easily adaptable to other tastes and preferences to address some difficult family-related dynamics, and considering the relationship and family-based context of food practices in pledge schemes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think another thing that you can do to help a family member is invite them along when you're grocery shopping.
Oh, absolutely. So much fun. Just to kind of introduce them to the things there that are, naturally vegan that you might not think of immediately, but then also all of the wonderful products that are available.
Yeah. I mean, I think a family member might be surprised at the amount of vegetables that are in your cart, but they'll also realize, oh, okay, I eat all this stuff too. I just might not be incorporating enough of it into my diet. And what are some great ways to use, say, Brussels sprouts or, whatever the vegetable is, if you're taking them shopping with you, you can say, oh, I buy these and this is what I make with them. This is how I use them in a meal or, things like that. Yep. And then, like Sam said, the amount of products that are out there now, like mock meats and stuff like that, make it so simple for people to transition. Sam needs to take a bio break.
A few moments later.
What other ways can we help family members go vegan or adopt a plant-based diet?
I think the best thing that you can do really is, number one, let them know that you support them in that journey if they choose to make it, and to accept that that will happen in their own time and in their own way. Not to push too hard, but also to point them towards resources, websites and videos and documentaries and books that, will help them along the way.
Yeah. And while veganism isn't about food, we've said it before, that's where it starts for so many people.
Absolutely.
But, if you have people in your family that are huge animal lovers, maybe you can broach the ethical side of veganism with them. Maybe you can sit down and watch a couple of documentaries with them and make them more aware without being forceful or making them uncomfortable, making them aware of what's going on in animal agriculture and animal testing and all of those aspects of the ethical side of veganism.
Sure. But it's always best to know who you're talking to.
Right.
It's funny. We were actually listening to a past episode driving home yesterday, and we were talking about my dad moving towards a plant-based diet, and we were talking about the fact that had we approached veganism with him from the ethical side of things, we never would have convinced him to do more research. As soon as we got into the health side of things, he was much more willing to look at that, especially since he had been having some health issues.
Yeah. Yeah. So
know your audience.
Yeah. You gotta
know who you're talking to.
Yeah. You gotta know who you're talking to and, know what part of your vegan journey can they relate to? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah. So I hope that you can help all of your family members go vegan.
I don't know about all, baby steps.
Yep.
And if you do have family that are completely resistant to the idea, well, you know what? Back off.
Right. You be you, whatever.
That's right. You do your thing. You let them do their thing because, being belligerent about it is not going to get you anywhere.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So that brings us to one of our reasons to be vegan. What is our reason of the week to be vegan?
Well, today's reason is reason number 8. Dairy doesn't do a body good. And I chose this one because it relates back to the study regarding breast milk.
Right.
That we were just talking about.
Okay.
Okay. So do you have any of the following symptoms after eating dairy? Bloating, excessive farting, burping, or belching, pain, cramping, a belly that looks 9 months pregnant, or a slight feeling that your stomach might just simply explode? If so, there's a good chance you are lactose intolerant, just like 65% of the global population. A lot of people are misdiagnosed with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, when what they are really experiencing is a genetic inability to digest cheese or milk. Lactose intolerance is the most common genetic deficiency worldwide, and it comes from not having enough lactase, an enzyme meant to break down milk sugar, in your system to digest the lactose, sugar, from milk. So if you're among the 65%, the undigested lactose you ingest when indulging in dairy causes inflammation, bringing massive amounts of water into your small intestine and colon, which then could lead to watery diarrhea and major bloat.
Ew.
Ew. Bacteria in your colon finally metabolize the undigested lactose, and you get some mighty malodorous fermentation churning away down there, which eventually escapes your body as smelly gas. People who are lactose intolerant often think there is something wrong with them and treat it like a medical condition. But when you consider that the majority of the world's population can't digest dairy, it's worth thinking of lactose intolerance as normal.
Yeah, and that's what people call it now. I'm sorry to interrupt. Lactose normal.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Thank you. It makes sense. Why should we be able to properly digest the milk of other animals? Biologically speaking, we are not intended to drink dairy, the fluid of a lactating animal that is designed by nature for her baby. Some people are mildly lactose intolerant, which means they experience only mild nausea, gas, or general discomfort. Humans are remarkable animals who can adapt to and live with regular pain, but why not figure out if you have lactose intolerance and can do away with that stomachache? Just give up dairy 100% for at least a month. Check labels to make sure it's not hiding in your salad dressing, cookies, and other sneaky places, because food manufacturers love putting dairy everywhere. Look for ingredients like casein and its derivatives, caseinate, for example, lactate, curds, ghee, and whey. Try oat, almond, hemp, coconut, rice, or soy milk instead of cow's milk, and you'll very likely get a flatter belly and a whole lot less gas. And if you're a cheese freak, look for the ton of non-dairy cheeses in the market now. Same for ice cream, yogurt, and even ranch or blue cheese dressing. Note: lactose intolerance is different from dairy sensitivity. Dairy sensitivity means that you essentially have an allergic reaction to the cow's milk proteins, and that can lead to such issues as eczema, serious sinus problems, inflammatory bowel disease, and damage to the gastrointestinal lining. The solution to both conditions is the same, however. Don't consume dairy. Check out switchforgood.org to find out more. Now, just as a sideline, here we go with Milk Does a Body Bad. Dairy allergies and intolerances affect up to 2/3 of the world's population. Dairy allergy symptoms can include life-threatening anaphylaxis, as well as wheezing, vomiting, hives, eczema, and digestive problems. Symptoms of dairy intolerance include bloating, gas, nausea, and diarrhea. Some allergy and intolerance symptoms are immediate. Others may take several days to appear. And there is no proven method for reversing a dairy allergy or intolerance. The most effective strategy is to avoid dairy altogether. So this, coupled with the study that we saw stating that lactating mothers do not need to consume cow's milk in order to maintain the nutritional viability of their breast milk, just gives us more and more reasons to go vegan. And once again, in case you've forgotten, that reason is from 72 Reasons to Be Vegan, Why Plant-Based, Why Now by Gene Stone and Kathy Freston.
It just makes you wonder, why do we drink cow's milk? I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Whoever decided that was a good thing to do?
I don't know. I don't know. But clearly there's plenty of research out there that proves the opposite.
Yeah.
It is unnecessary and unhealthy.
It's easy to find milk in products because it's required to put it in the ingredients list if it contains any kind of milk product. So,
Yes.
Yeah. So check those labels and make sure your chips don't have milk powder in them.
Yeah, they sometimes do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why with the milk powder?
Well, I mean, we know why, and we could go into that, but that's a whole other episode.
Yeah. Hey, we're at your favorite part of the show.
Oh, it must be listener shout-out time.
Just want to give a shout-out to all my fans watching. I love you guys. I love you.
Here we go. So, this week's listener shout-out goes to Joe. Just Joe.
AKA Supernatural Health Forever.
We don't know much about Joe. He follows us on our social media, and he posts all kinds of delicious-looking vegan food on his Instagram, and so we're looking out for him. Hey, Joe. Email us at compassionandcucumbers@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram, and we will send you a Compassion and Cucumbers swag bag.
Yeah, thanks for all your support, Joe. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being so active on our social media. We really appreciate it. And like I said before, Joe is Supernatural Health Forever on Instagram. So if that's you, Joe, send me your info.
And that brings us to this week's housekeeping.
Time to keep that house. Hey, we want to try your favorite vegan recipes. We have a new segment that's called Listener Recipes, appropriately enough. So email or DM us your favorite vegan meals that you love to make and send us the recipes so that we can try them. Now, these can be original recipes that you've made up yourself, something that you've read in a book, something you found online, something passed down through generations of your family. But we want to make your recipes and try them out. And if you give us a recipe and you would like us to share the recipe with all of our listeners, please let us know that and we'll definitely share the recipe.
Go ahead and sign up for our weekly newsletters so that you're up to date on everything that's going on with the show. The link is in the show notes. And also by subscribing to our newsletters, you will know where we are going to be in this upcoming Veg Fest season.
Yeah, keep tabs on us.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to.
Seriously.
This is the final week. I know I said last week was the final week, but this is it. This is the final week for our Food Not Bombs fundraiser at our Buy Me a Coffee. That's at buymeacoffee.com/cucumbers. And we are taking money in for the Buffalo chapter of Food Not Bombs. Food Not Bombs, if you're not familiar, is a wonderful organization that provides vegan meals for people with food insecurities.
Absolutely. If you happen to be a lover of handcrafted items such as scarves, hats, bags, bracelets, fairy wands, those kinds of things, then check out my Etsy site, Cucumber Craftworks, and follow us there.
Yeah, so you can be notified when
new stuff comes out, and there's a lot of new stuff in the works right now.
Sam, like I said before, is just a hat factory.
I have been a hat factory for about the last week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We want to hear from you. I like hearing from our listeners, so email or DM us if you have show ideas, or cookbook recommendations, recipes, like I said before, or subjects that you would like us to touch on. If we're not talking about something that you think we should be talking about, please let us know.
You can go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube. We post every episode of the show, some unboxing videos and recipe shorts on YouTube. Don't forget to click the little bell so that you're notified when we have a new video out. And I can tell you that there should be a new unboxing video this week because we did just get a new Vegan Cuts snack box.
Yeah, we should have that unboxing video out by the end of the week. Maybe we'll do it together since you're around.
You're really going to make me be on camera?
Sam does not like to be on camera.
I hate being on camera.
But even if Sam is not in this episode of the Vegan Cuts unboxing, I think I am going to also be opening and tasting some of those during the unboxing. So I'll make sure it's none of the things I know that you want. So
okay. All right. That's fine.
Hey, you want a listener shout out like Joe? Well, send us a DM or an email letting us know that you listen and tell us a little about yourself so that we can send you a swag bag.
Sure thing. If you'd like to support the podcast, go ahead and join our Patreon. We add all of our recipes from our Vegan Kitchen series for our patrons, and we will soon be adding some bonus episodes now that it is summer and we've got a little extra time on our hands.
Yeah.
The link is always in the show notes if you'd like to join the community there.
Hey, leave us a review on your podcast app if it allows. If it doesn't allow you to leave a review, please rate us on your podcast app. Usually there's a situation where you can give us a number of stars, and we do prefer 5 of them.
When did we come into this?
On that note, I wanted to read a recent review that we got.
Oh, yeah, that was awesome. Definitely.
Yeah.
Toss that one out there.
So, here's another thing. If you leave us a review, we're gonna shout you out.
Yeah, we will.
So, our latest review comes from Happy Crone.
Great name.
On Apple Podcasts. The title of Happy Crone's review is 5 stars plus. And the review reads, "These women bring me such joy. They're fun, entertaining, and share such great resources. Positive, non-judgmental conversations about living vegan. Highly recommend." So Thank you, Happy Crone.
Thank you so much, Happy Crone. Again, I'd say that deserves a swag bag.
Yeah, if I knew who Happy Crone
was. I would
was.
say Happy Crone. Send Christine a DM or hit her up through Facebook messages or email us at compassioningcucumbers@gmail.com and get yourself a swag bag. You've earned it.
Reach out.
Yes. Don't forget, if you listen on Spotify, Christine always posts a question or a poll about the episode that you can interact with, and we would love to see you do that.
Yeah, I don't know what this week's question is going to be. I have to think of something good.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll come up with something.
Yeah. Hey, share the show with a friend or a family member that you think will enjoy what we do, and you can also share our social media. It's the easiest way to support us, and it costs you absolutely nothing.
And of course, I can't believe it's me saying it this week instead of you saying it, but go ahead and join the AFA Vegan Voter Hub if you haven't already, and give to them financially if you can. The Agriculture Fairness Alliance is lobbying on our behalf so that our vegan voices are heard. And if you want to make real change on the upcoming farm bill, join the Voter Hub.
Do it.
See, she got that in anyway.
Do it. And that's it. We have reached the end of episode 89 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. We really appreciate that. And with that, we will say,
where cukes and compassion are always the fashion on the podcast.
Thank you, James.
Have a great week, everyone.
We'll talk to you next Tuesday. We love you. Bye.
The end.
Do you want to support the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast? Well, you can do that by joining our Patreon page. We have 3 different levels of support, and all 3 come with their own special bonuses. Hey, you can support the podcast and get yourself some really cool merch. All the links and deets are in the show notes. We'll catch you next week on the next episode of Compassion and Cucumbers.